Hey guys, Jonah here, back with a beer review, and yeah, had a few beers last night off camera. I was down at the Royston. It was Andy's birthday. Well, in fact, it's his birthday today, so happy birthday, my man. We got, yeah, a lot of us got proper drunk, man. Yes, I've been feeling it most of the day. Don't usually drink pints, and I had 3 pints and 4 halves, I think. So not vast amount of beer, but it was over like three hours, something like that, and I was like, oh, steaming. Anyway, we're going to do another one from the Balkans box. This one is definitely from the Garden Brewery, Croatia's finest, and yeah, they are actually in Zagreb. Um, I actually really fancy going here because there's a picture of the brewery, which I probably should. You might have seen it very quickly, but yeah, there's their tap room, and if you look at the actual building in the background, like where are we? Up here, it's huge. I don't know why it's not focusing on there, but it's no. Oh, there we go. Is it going to focus? There we go. Yeah, look at that. Absolutely ridiculous. And if you look online, which I did, um, yeah, it becomes you become aware very quickly that it's a big operation, which I think is fantastic. Um, and the brewery, sorry, the beer we are doing is this bad boy, New England Pale Ale. It says a punchy pale packed with Simcoe, Citra, and Sabro hops, giving notes of grapefruit and melon. A lot of beers lately have got melon. We'll give that melon taste, which is interesting. 4.8, so almost a 5% beer. It even tells you. I love the information it gives. Obviously, not up here because I have no clue. When you look down there, it says what the malts are. Now, basically, the information that I usually tell you guys, it says it on the can itself. So we've got barley, wheat, and oats in there. The malts are Pilsner, flaked wheat, flaked oats. We know what the hops are. Oh, it says it's got Idaho 7 in as well, which is cool. And the yeast is Juice Machine, which I think is a proprietary yeast by the Garden Brewery. I'm not sure. You used to be able to get hold of this for home brewing, but everyone seems to be out of stock of it. So yeah, it's interesting that that you can't get hold of that yeast anymore. Well, I think it's interesting, being as I do a bit of home brewing every now and then. In fact, I've kind of got chatting with the guy at the pub at the Royston, a guy called Mike. If you're watching this, Mike, then hello, dude. He's a lot more keen home brewer than I am. I'm a very lazy home brewer. With a lot of things, I'm quite lazy. But yeah, he's putting a few beers into competitions this year, and as I am a judge, obviously I'm a camera judge and I've done a lot of that, but I've also done some BJCP judging as a guest judge. So I'm used to that as well. So I was going to give him, not cheat, but basically tell him how a judge would judge a certain beer, and hopefully he'll take that on, if that makes sense. Right, so glass and can. This can has been chilling a long while in the old fridge. Right, don't want to fill it all the way because it's going to become really, really hazy. Oh God, go on, sod it. Give you a full disclaimer. That was pouring very, very clear until the last tiny bit of the can, where all the sedimente accumulates, and now it's a bit hazy. So we've got between a finger and two in there. Oh, I can see there's a little. I mean, you can see that there's a little dark. What is that? Is that just a bubble, or is something within that bubble? Not sure. We'll find out. Anyway, let us get on and do this. So this is a pale ale. It's not an IPA, so I'm not worried about it being under 5%. And the beer, one of the beers that I was drinking last night, was the Jet Pug, the Royston's own. Well, I've reviewed it on this channel before, but it's a West Coast pale, but it's 5.6%. So it could be an IPA, but Andy from Elusive, who basically brewed it, they're the brewery that lovely the Royston used, yeah, called it a pale ale instead of an IPA, which is fantastic. I'm getting loads of kind of sweet, grapefruity tropicalness. I am getting that kind of water addition-y type thing. Not sure if that's good or bad. Usually I get that from like, yeah, the dextrin-y type malts, but it might be a salt that they've used in the water profile. It smells a little bit chalky, if that makes sense, which is true to style, which is all right. But usually getting there is like a terroir from the water, i.e., yeah, I don't like necessarily breweries that change their water profile a lot. Homebrewers, no, I'm not so worried about it because you're trying to copy a style or clone a style. But a brewery should be true, in my opinion, to their roots a lot more. So use water sourced themselves, and don't mess around with it too much. Use local hops, use local malts and that kind of stuff. Don't ship things all the way around the world. I know everyone really does for hops, but yeah. Anyway, oh yeah, the one thing I was going to say is the senior buyer, James Cayley, from Beer 52, has judged this beer as his favourite beer of the box. He says, punchy New England pale ale from the garden. It's packed with mega hops, the pinnacle of brewing in the Balkans. So apparently this is the top dog. Cheers and beers. Okay, nice. Goes down very smooth. Then it goes into a bit of kind of grapefruity type tropicalness. But that soon goes into a more softer, kind of juicier type flavour. It's really fruity, I have to say. Lots of kind of fruit in there. I'm trying to detect the melon. I'm always looking for the melons, or looking at the melons, but I'm tasting the melons today. Or I should say, I'm not tasting the melons. I'm trying to taste the melons. I'm digging myself into a hole, dear viewer. That's not exactly what I'm trying to do. But what I'm saying is, it says on the can, and it also says on the description, that there is a taste of melon. And I was assuming it was going to be a kind of a light melon. I mean, that fruit, I was going to say, is it like a watermelon or a kind of cantaloupe type melon? You know, one of those kind of more fleshy ones. But no, I'm not getting that. It's very fruity. I'm definitely getting the fruit, but pardon me. Yeah, not the melons. I'm not getting the melons, man. Not twisting my melon. Oh. Speaking of twisting my melon, I was looking at property and property prices in Manchester, of all places. Um, yeah, and yeah, that you can get some good stuff, but don't seem to be houses. Manchester's very built up now, and it's very flat kind of, especially in the centre. It's all flats. There's hardly any houses at all. Very strange. And it used to be a lot of houses. I haven't been there for years, like 20 years at least. But it was cool when I did go there. Very, very cool place, especially for beer. I've drunk some beer there. Uh, Lovely. They got some tap rooms. Just they've got a vocation tap room now. Fantastic. Obviously, the Cloudwater one's there as well, plus others. I would love to do a kind of pub crawl around there. Oh, yeah, it's weird. There is a juicy fruit, not like the chewing gum. They used to be called Juicy Fruits, the Wrigley's one. Um, but it's a grapefruit that then goes into a different. It's maybe a type of orange or that kind of juicy kind of, well, like a grapefruit, I guess. Grapefruit and orange are both juicy kind of fruits. So is a melon as well, or certain types of melon. But it's not the kind of honeydew melon, the white kind of flavors that I used to get from certain hops. What we got in Simcoe? Yeah, Citra. Citra's probably used for bittering it, but there's not much greenness in there. And Idaho 7. Oh, and Sabro. So Idaho 7 and Sabro. Well, in fact, aren't they the nutty ones? Don't I get some weird nutty flavors from those? I'm not getting that in here at all. I think it's the coconut. You get that kind of taste. But no, this is all about kind of juicy, citrus, tropical type fruits in the kind of, yeah, the juicy variety. So there's definitely grapefruit of different types. Maybe a melon stroke grapefruit crossover. You definitely get initially the grapefruit because it's a bit more sour, a little bit more kind of bitter, but then it goes into real juiciness. And the one thing I'm not really getting is the kind of juicy cream um, that you would get from using the oats and the wheat in here. So maybe they just used a little bit of it, a tiny little, a pinch, if you like. Hmm. I have had certain beers in the past from Ireland, which were purportedly watermelon type beers, which didn't taste like watermelon at all to me, and were green colour. I'm just showing you the can because that's the beer that I've been drinking. New England Pale by the Garden Brewery. I'd say that's quite a nice beer. Um, but where's the melon? Very strange. Anyway, please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other and come back because I'll be back with a beer review and that'll come up real soon.